Welcome to Next Level from Level with Emily. I am Emily Reese, and that is Sam Keenan. Say hi, Sam.
Hello.
Master producer of the show, of course. Sam and I like to talk about the episodes because I edit, then he mixes, and we inevitably talk about the episode after the fact. And we just thought maybe we'd start recording that. So that's what we're
hmm
doing here today. We're going to talk about the next episode of Level, which is coming up this Friday. It features composer Andy Rohrmann, aka Scientific, or even longer back in the day, Scientific American. And we talk about two of his games, even though Andy has done many awesome indie games that people love very dearly, not least of which is Oxenfree. So yeah, but we talk about Gibbon Beyond the Trees and JETT The Far Shore. Very different soundtracks. And Sam, I mean, what did
hmm
you think of the conversation and the music that Andy wrote for those games?
Yeah, I mean it's a good double wide episode.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, those two soundtracks are definitely very, very different, but it's interesting how his style is very there for both of them.
Hmm.
And I thought it was a really cool episode, and I thought his music was really cool. But I noticed that I think he and I just share a lot of similar music tastes and things that his kind of general approach and what he talked about in terms of influences and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
and
I
and I
particularly liked it, but yeah.
yeah, and I love it when composers get into the nitty-gritty of their influences very specifically, and he does that with one of a track from Portishead that you and I just happen to totally love. And so
hmm
when he called it out, I was like, "Oh man, Sam's gonna love this."
Yeah, and I did, and also it was just interesting because I was thinking about when just listening to his tracks that you know, I like to find music typically instrumental to put on in the background when I'm doing stuff, and
Hmm.
I've kind of gravitated towards like that sort of trip hop stuff and everything. But
Yeah.
you can only listen to so much trip hop, and music like music like the stuff he's making is just really so good for that. And it's like nice soundscapey type stuff, and
Hmm.
um and just really just cool stacking of sounds and instruments and palettes, and it's just it's a palette kind of stuff. It's really, really neat.
Yeah, and just like two completely different palettes, right? Like Gibbon,
Yeah.
which is the newer game. Gibbon came out earlier in this year, 2022, and Gibbon is like a lot of, struck percussion, or even maybe in some cases like plucked percussion, like maybe thumb pianos or something. But
Yeah,
there's also,
definitely.
it's very gamelan-esque in like you're hitting instruments to get tones. And
hmm
you know uh, Jet is mostly kind of an orchestral palette, which was really
hmm
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and the sounds he got in on the Gibbon soundtrack from those percussion instruments and stuff were just really good, really good
Yeah.
sounds, and really well recorded and mixed and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, and he talked about in the other one in Jet, kind of went into his process about the kind of philosophically how he was putting I think it was orchestral stuff behind the people, and then synthesizer stuff behind the planet and the
Yeah.
alien force and stuff, and he gets into talking about some of the process of creation for those things, and that was neat too.
Right. And then how in Gibbon, he kind of does a similar thing where he's representing the gibbons, the animals, with those struck percussion sounds, but then humanity with the like orchestra sounds, like
hmm
more Western influence, because he talks about the Western influence into the destruction of the gibbon habitat, which is a whole other thing.
yeah.
But but yeah, it was so great to talk with him. And I think we're gonna have more supersized Andy/scientific episodes in the future, because I really do want to go deep with him on his Oxenfree music, which is amazing. And given that Oxenfree 2 is expected in 2023, it's likely that we'll have more of Andy on in the near future. So I'm
Yeah,
pumped
and
about that.
that's cool because he's a giving talker too. If you
Yeah.
know if you're interested in process and also just like his little tips and tricks. He talks some tricks about making instruments, and he talks
Yeah.
about that cool thing he did with choir where they did this interesting integration where they kind of put
Oh,
all the voices, they recorded them separately and put them all around in this environment and stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah,
Neato.
the way they implemented that sounds like it was really cool and probably really complicated, and I'm glad they pulled that off. I would love to
Mm-hmm.
experience that in JETT. I think that's as she's like leaving the planet for the first time, if I remember right. And
Okay.
singing is such a part of their culture that, yeah, they like sing to send her off. And yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want, yeah, that's a cool story. So yeah, looking forward to sharing it with you. You listening or watching,
Yeah.
anything else you want to say about either one, Sam?
I don't know, just another home run, music
Yeah.
lovers, you know, better start
Yeah.
sharing this show.
That'd be great. We would love it if you would subscribe to Level with Emily Reese YouTube. That'd be amazing. And of course, be sure to check out the podcast. We'll have that conversation here on YouTube. It won't have music, but the podcast will. So check out the audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and join us on Discord. That link will be in the show notes. I'm Emily. That's Sam. And we are excited to share this next episode with you on Friday.
Yep.